Hello, I'm Mantastic and Fantastic, and today I want to talk about all the various egg machines that we can possibly roll in at this exact point in time. So if you look in like the machine tab, you will notice that there are tons of different things you can actually roll in, and for the 5 Magic Stone Special Godfest with no name, it has a 23.5% chance of rolling a 6 to 8 star Godfest exclusive, but it only costs 5 Magic Stones. So that is actually a pretty good ratio when you truly think about it. And on top of that, there are a bunch of X 5-star Godfest exclusives such as like Metatron, Australis, Green Odin, Sharius, Zuo, etc. And these cards don't get featured that often, and if you're an older player like myself, there's a strong likelihood that you've acquired many of these cards, but if you're a newer player, there's probably a good chance you don't have these cards because they're not featured that often. Are they used that often, so to speak? Not necessarily, but you may find niche uses for them. As a whole, I think it's an okay Godfest. Like, the rates are a bit better for a 5-star machine, especially if you are hungering for any of those X 5-star Godfest exclusives. On the flip side, Sacred Relic is a reoccurring Gung-Ho owned event, and in all honesty, for 10 Magic Stones, it does feel quite pricey, and we know it's going to return. It's going to most likely return again with various buffs, and I don't think it's necessarily worth rolling in at this point in time, but the exception is, do you own Paulone? And she is a bottom rarity card of an 8.74% chance to actually be rolled, and if you don't have her, I would recommend rolling at least a bit and hopefully getting her. It's an 8.74% chance. There's a good chance you might get other cards that are of value potentially. The drawback is the bottom rarity does not have weapon assist, so it's going to feel a little if you roll multiples of them. But if you get Paulone, your life will be saved. And why is she so valuable? Well, she has damage and attribute absorption cancellation along with a cleric style active skill, but she comes with team HP as her base awakenings. And the way the meta is kind of shifting is if you don't have cards like Patty or Ryume, it's going to make it incredibly difficult to play newer content. And Paulone is obviously not as great as those cards, but she has still 3 team HP awakenings and a useful active skill, so it is definitely worth to acquire her. I still use her regularly. She has an L, which means she can restore your awakenings twice because she has 2 L's now with her latest buff. Even if she didn't have a buff, I was still using her. She's used constantly overall, so she's definitely a card worth picking up. And then finally, for the Spy X Family collab, this is a new debut collab, so that means these cards are brand new. We've never had this event before, and all the cards do at least come with weapon assists. So if you are someone who doesn't have a huge monster box that has many weapon assists available, the collab is probably going to be your best bet. And while there is about a 65% chance of rolling any of the bottom rarity cards, the collab features tons and tons of different characters. So hopefully with several rolls you'll get different cards and hopefully in turn different weapon assists. Maybe you'll snag some of the higher rarity cards. So kind of to summarize, the Godfest is alright, maybe a couple of rolls here and there. If you don't have Paulone, roll in Sacred Relic, and Spy X Family is probably where you should be spending like other Magic Stones, like kind of stones left over. Like rolling a fair amount is not a bad idea because again, it is new, and generally speaking, stuff that comes out today tends to be a bit on the stronger side overall. And again, they all have weapon assists. So if you are someone who doesn't have the deepest monster box, getting a bunch of weapon assists that are easy to evolve can be quite meaningful, because you can make arguments that like various Pantheon cards in Godfest do have weapon assists, and you're not wrong, but the amount of resources you're going to need to sink into making those weapon assists are quite high. By comparison, in Spy X Family, you just level up a card to max level and boom, evolve them. Pretty straightforward by comparison. So I feel like that's where I would try and place my Magic Stones, at least at this exact point in time. The month did just change, so there are new monthly quests to tackle, which in turn means more Magic Stones you can possibly acquire. So yeah, spend your Magic Stones wisely. But regardless of all that, let me know what you think about these various events in the comment section down below. And if you did roll, what did you end up rolling in? Regardless of all that, hopefully you all have a truly fantastic day. I wish you the best luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.